Hi there, I'm Kathleen Lucy, Client Director at Stryve.
I'm Paul Delahunty, Information Security Officer with Stryve.
Okay, so we're moving on with our cybersecurity discussions. In our previous conversations, we touched on how we can secure our devices and some tips on protecting against attacks. But how important is it to have backups, Paul?
Well, I suppose it's incredibly important to have backups. We've seen it several times with different hacks and breaches and ransomware attacks over the past number of months and years. If you don't have a backup for your data, your critical stuff that you need to continue your business, when something goes wrong, it can be business ending. So you need to have, it's kind of a belt and braces approach. You need to have something there that you can restore very quickly back to a good business footing, I suppose. Otherwise, you have to build everything up from the start again if something bad happens to your data.
So what should companies be backing up, just to be precise?
Companies should back up anything that is critical to their business. So all critical systems, data, infrastructure, all that sort of stuff. Anything where you think, look, if I lost this data, or if I had no access to this data, it will potentially be business ending, or at the very least would severely inhibit my ability to do business.
Okay, makes sense. And can I just ask, so my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, going back to the HSE, because it's still, I suppose, quite topical, my understanding is that the HSE did have backups in place, yet they were still offline for some time.
Yeah, they were. And I think in the reports that have come out since, we've seen that the HSE did have backups, but even if the backups were perfect, they seem to have only taken periodic backups. So they wouldn't have regularly taken backups. So which isn't a great place to start. But the real problem they had was that the backups they had also backed up the ransomware. So that got encrypted as well. So that's where they had the problem. The backups they had weren't immutable. The backups they had weren't secure because they were also ended up being encrypted by the ransomware. So thankfully they got the key, which did help them a lot. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it did help them come back online much, much more quickly than they would have otherwise.
Okay, so not just important for companies to back up, but ensure that you can restore those backups.
That's another key thing. There are a lot of companies, Kathleen, who say, oh, backup's done. That's great. We'll never look at it again. But you need to regularly test the data that you're backing up, test your actual restore procedure, make sure it works. Because if it doesn't work, what's the point in backing up? You might as well have no backups. So you need to test it and know that your backups work, know the procedure that you have for restoring your backup works, and then you're in a good position.
Okay, excellent. And also making sure that those backups are clean.
Absolutely. That's where you don't want to be backing up the bad stuff. You don't want to be backing up the ransomware. Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you for that, Paul.
Thank you.